What's up, my Block buddies? This is Block Content, and today we actually just saw the Nintendo Switch reveal trailer. Such a special day this is. So, it is Nintendo Switch, not NX, it's NS for short, and we are actually joined by our friends from Console Warriors to talk about it a little bit. We have Alex.
Hey guys, Alex from Console Warriors. What's up?
And we have, of course, our new guest, Logan.
Hello, guys.
So, I was just wondering, what are your very first, short impressions on it? Alex?
I want. Give me, Nintendo. Take my freaking money that I do not have.
And Logan, what are your first thoughts?
Well, I just watched the video, just now, and that is insane. I don't know how they're gonna pull this off, but I don't know, Nintendo magic.
Mind blow.
Yeah.
It sure does feel like Nintendo magic. So let's start with the trailer. The trailer was presented very much like a sort of Pokemon Sun and Moon reveal, something that mixes a sort of a live action vibe with actors and the console being shown. What did you guys think of that sort of presentation, Alex?
I thought it was very, very cool. We didn't get too much game footage, but we saw extensive use of the console itself, how it's used, which I feel they didn't do enough with the Wii U, and it makes it very clear that this is Nintendo's brand new console. It is radically different than almost anything we've really seen before, and it is going to be super sweet.
It's probably going to be really fun. I'm interested in how the technicality of it works. I don't know. I think there were the games that they showed off were for the most part also on the Wii U, which I feel like they could have shown off a bit more originality, but I guess not everyone has games ready, and I think they just wanted to keep it more on the hardware and not on the games, but it felt like a very Nintendo advertisement, same sort of style that they always have, but I just really want to see how that even works.
Exactly, yeah. I had the same feeling, but I do think that what's very special about this trailer is something that we've not really seen before in a general Nintendo ad, because I've actually made a video about this. I think it was yesterday or the day before, and it was the fact that it's very much centered towards a, not necessarily the hardcore gamer, but a more mature audience. These are 20-somethings or maybe even early somethings or early 30s, and I was just very curious. What do you guys think of Nintendo not necessarily targeting young kids with this console, but actually young adults?
Nintendo's always been, to me at least, something for all ages. It does. Some people think it's a bit kiddie. I mean, you had your video about is Nintendo just for kids, Callum, but they here in the trailer they seem to have young adults playing the console, and it was just very focused on that. Now I'm okay with this, considering I'm getting up there. It seems to be targeting people like me and Logan and you too, Colin. And I'm okay with this. And I just want to say, Nintendo, you are so innovative. You have somehow combined handheld gaming, tablet gaming, and console gaming all in one system.
Very nice. So Logan, what do you think of maybe targeting with this trailer a more mature or at least more specific audience?
I think that they're kind of going about it the right way, because the system is releasing in March now. If it was closer to now, closer to the December and all that, then I think that they would need to have more kids and whatnot in the commercials, so parents will get it for Christmas. But since it's coming out in March, which isn't really a big holiday or anything, I think adults are the ones that they're going to want to target, because adults are going to get it for themselves, and they won't necessarily buy it you won't necessarily have parents buying it for their kids. And Nintendo's never really been about kids only. They've been a fairly kid-friendly company, especially in the old days when they would be like, when, the U.S. Nintendo department or whatever, Nintendo of America, that's what I'm thinking of, when they'd be censoring games and stuff. But, Nintendo isn't just for kids. They have a lot of adult fans. They know that. People grow up playing Nintendo. I mean, Nintendo's published a few M-rated games before, so they're not, they're not just a child-friendly company.
Yeah, I do think that this trailer mostly targets something of a more mature audience, but also we get, of course, the reveal of Splatoon or Splatoon 2 or something like a port of Splatoon for at the end of this trailer, which also shows a more kid-friendly audience, I suppose. But also shows the esports audience. And I was just very curious, what do you guys think of Nintendo, really banking it on, hey, we also make esports games. So this wasn't Smash Brothers or anything. It was Splatoon, which to me isn't that big of an esports sort of title, but it makes sense being a shooter. Alex, what are your thoughts on Nintendo diving into the esports scene here?
I'm genuinely surprised. I'm not a big follower of esports, but I don't believe Nintendo's usually in Nintendo games are usually associated with esports other than perhaps Smash. Splatoon, I've played it. I have it. It's a very fun game, and I really like this franchise that Nintendo made its debut about a year back. I am very excited to see a sequel or a port that'll have better local multiplayer.
Yeah, that's gonna make a difference. So all of these things that kind of combine, the local multiplayer, playing it on the go. I was very curious, Logan, where would you use this console? Where would you use the handheld portion of the game?
Jeez, I don't know. I guess I don't really go too many places. Maybe I'd bring it to school, like during off time between classes or something. I'd probably be busy with actual homework, but geez, I don't know. I guess if I ever take a plane, there's that. I might actually be going to Germany this summer, so, or next summer.
Exciting, so we can meet up. Germany is very close to where I live.
Well, no, it's like a student trip thing, so I can't really,
Nah, you can make the detour. You can make the detour for YouTube.
But I don't think I'd bring. I don't know if I'd bring it there anyway, though, because it is so far away, and if I lose that, I don't know if you can replace it, but maybe, who knows? I don't know. I guess I'd just bring it, if I was going to a restaurant or something, because I'm a sad, lonely person. I guess I'd point myself for not talking to anyone, and I would just bring it there. Or if I was, I have little cousins and stepbrothers, so I guess we'd bring it somewhere. If they had to wait around, I'd just plunk it down, and we could be playing Splatoon or whatever. Well, I guess you need 2 screens for that. I don't know.
Maybe you can play it online though.
Well, maybe, but. That's also making me curious. Is there going to be a data plan or something? Or do you have to connect it to Wi-Fi?
If I may step in, I'm going to be completely honest. What I will majorly use the handheld component of the NS for. Playing a main console Mario title on the toilet.
So you'll use it portable, but you'll use it very close to home.
Well, also long car trips. This looks perfect to bring on long car trips.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I do a lot of traveling myself, just to see different partners that I work with, or go to different countries to see family, or tour with the band, stuff like that. And it's just seeing this trailer also target that specific audience with the guys in the van, and even the guys just having fun, at the basketball court or whatever. I can really see that, and mostly these trailers kind of show these perfect, scenarios. But I can actually, if this thing has a good battery life, I can surely see myself, kind of going on tour with this thing and just having a lot of fun trying to beat The Legend of Zelda, not necessarily having to be home for the console portion of that game. I can just take it anywhere I want to go, and that to me is very exciting. But it does bring up a short concern, and before we hop into games, which I really want to do, my main concern right now is the battery life. And, Alex, what do you think? Does this thing have a crazy battery life, or do you maybe need to keep a charger so it will still not really be a portable device?
First, I just want to say, if you ever come our neck of woods, come and look us up.
Nice.
Yeah. Second off, concerning what you said, from the looks of the NS, what I mainly see is it's sort of an evolution of the gamepad. Because with the gamepad, you could play off TV, play it on the little screen below, and you could walk around the house a little bit. There was a certain range, but you could basically play it sort of on the go. And although the gamepad itself did not have a very good battery life, usually only about 2 hours before it dies. Now, the NX, it seems to be an evolution of that, where
the Nintendo Switch, right?
yes, the Nintendo Switch. It's hard to get used to that name after the code name for so long, but it seems to be an evolution of that. They seem to have evolved from the gamepad, where you can take it with you now. There's no main console that has to be hooked up to. The dock port seems to just connect it to the TV and charge it. That seems to be its main purpose. But you can bring it with you. As far as you need. I'm sure they'll have a portable charger, since I don't think it'll be okay for you to bring that dock everywhere you go. Since they focus very, very much on the handheld nature of it in the trailer, I am sure it will have a battery life similar, if not better, than the current 3DS family.
Oh, okay. That's a very, very interesting point that you made right there, because, naming even the 3DS in what you just said makes me think of, this really feels like it could play 3DS games, even seeing the little cartridge go into that console. I think it might have even been a 3DS game in that portion. I think it was the plain portion, right, where the guy actually gets that console out of his bag and puts the headphone jack in. I think this thing might actually play Nintendo 3DS games, right?
I don't know about that. It could be compatible. I'd love for it to be backwards compatible, but the NX and S, Nintendo Switch, darn my tongue, it seems to be more focused on bigger, more powerful games, considering the additional power of the device over the 3DS, which on its own is very impressive, but it not quite as powerful when it comes to game size and stuff.
I just want to say something about the name. Nintendo Switch is kind of a weird name, but it's good in getting across what the console is about. Most game systems really, they aren't super descriptive in the name, like it's just a word that sounds cool. So it's great that they have something that describes what it does. But personally, I do think NX sounds cooler, just, the Nintendo NX. But this is the same company that gave us the Wii U, and the new 3DS, so there isn't much to complain about with names here compared to what Nintendo's given us in the past.
Yeah, I kind of agree, but not really. I think that Nintendo Switch is an excellent name. It didn't really surprise me that much. I think people banked on it, actually. I think I might have seen a few people predict that it was going to be called the Nintendo Switch, but that was a very long time ago, just when the supposed NX was unveiled for the first time, or rumored. But to me, this feels like the perfect kind of Nintendo-y approach to a name, which is look, the Wii was a name that just stuck with people because it was unique. It was not a word that really existed, but it stood for Wii. It stood for gaming for everyone. And I really love that about the name. Wii U kind of stood for, this single gamepad that was for you, for one player. That name really wasn't that much of a, second coming of Christ or whatever. But I think that with Nintendo Switch, a Switch also sounds very cool, but it still sounds playful, I think. It's got Switch. It has this tone to it that really feels not really professional in that sense, but playful. And if you say Switch, you kind of feel like this change, and this change is what is unique about this new Nintendo console, which is, of course, taking it everywhere, and not only just having it be a hybrid, but the Switch part, which is also in those little blocks in the trailer with the red coloring. Exactly. You can switch different parts, and maybe there are even other, detachable parts that you can buy for different games. That's been rumored too. So it's not just the console hybrid thing, but it's actually Switch talks about it's switching up the gameplay and playing it with two people. You can detach the little sort of Wiimote joy. What are they called? Joy-Cons?
Yes. There's the Joy-Con L and the Joy-Con R, left and right respectively.
And that's of course a little bit weird. One of them has a D-pad and one of them has a sort of a stick, right? Or
no, not necessarily a D-pad. Something similar to the Nintendo 64's C buttons.
That's right. Yes.
And that way it kind of makes up for not having the A, B, X, Y buttons when you detach it and have the two-player as shown in the trailer.
Right. Yeah, and I haven't really seen shoulder buttons on this controller. So hit me up if you guys know if it does have them. But it's been rumored that they of course have these scroll wheels.
I did spy them. I did spy shoulder buttons, but it seemed to only have one on each Joy-Con. So
yes, it does.
So they may not be used when you're using it in multiplayer.
Yeah, I can actually see those things now, and it doesn't really look like they are scroll wheels, which has been rumored, but it still could be. They're very thin. And what do you guys actually think of the sort of Pro controller that was also revealed? It looks very much like a sort of a Wavebird kind of controller, right?
The Wavebird, that sure brings me back. How about you, Logan?
I never really had a Wavebird. I was content with wired controllers, but I want to say something about controllers. I think the concept of them like attaching and coming off of the tablet has a lot of potential, especially for different games and genres and whatnot, where you'd be able to switch like controller types. Because I'm a big fighting game fan, so if they had like an arcade stick controller, just like a small stick that had a space for the tablet or whatever, and you just plugged it in, it would be so nice to be able to play a fighting game on the go with a really high quality arcade controller, because portable fighting games, that's been the number one thing that's held them back all these years, is not having that good arcade control scheme, while you're trying to do quarter circles and full circles and shoryukens and whatnot. So I think something like that, maybe you could even maybe there's even a mouse or something you could use for first-person shooters. I don't know. I think there's a lot of potential. And the Pro Controller looked okay. It was something that didn't really register that much in my mind. Like, it wasn't something I was thinking about that much. I was like, oh, okay, there's a Pro Controller. I wasn't really thinking, it would be comfortable and whatnot. I just thought, oh yeah, that's a thing that exists.
Yeah, to me, you made a very good point talking about fighting games, because actually one of the leading companies in that respect, which is Capcom with their very cool Street Fighter franchise, they have actually been announced to be a partner of the Nintendo Switch, along with a gigantic list of other companies. And just to name a few, Konami is there, of course, Capcom, Bethesda is there, Bandai Namco is there, Activision is actually there, we have Take-Two games and also Telltale games. Which I really love, bringing back all those very cool Telltale original games. We have Warner Brothers games, so we might be able to see a Dark Knight, a Arkham game. Ubisoft is there. We have Dina, of course, famous from Pokemon Go, I think, right?
I don't believe Dina was responsible for Pokemon Go. I may be wrong, but
Dina was involved
Super Mario
in the development
Run.
Of also, yeah, exactly, yeah. They were involved in the mobile games, and of course the Havoc engine, we can see it there, which was also used for Smash Brothers, I think Brawl. There are just a ton of partners that Nintendo has announced. Even Square Enix, which makes you think, what could Nintendo be planning? Could we have, Final Fantasy 15 on this console? Could we have the new remake of Final Fantasy 7 on here?
I'm calling
but
it.
Seeing Capcom there.
Oh
you
god, I
think
think
so?
I know what Alex is talking about.
I'm calling it. Super Mario
you're gonna say
RPG
it.
2, Gino's Quest.
I knew you were gonna say it, Alex.
Are you guys a fan of Mario RPG?
I am just in love with Mario RPGs. They're the series that got me hooked on gaming.
I've never played. I've played some of the Paper Mario games, but never any of the other RPGs. I'm not super big into JRPGs, but I still want to play them sometime.
So if you guys look at these names of the software partners, right? Logan, I'm very curious. What strikes you immediately that you're like, okay, now that game is possible?
Bethesda to me is a really weird one. Now, I haven't been super big into Bethesda games. The only one I've ever played is Fallout New Vegas, which is pretty good. But
Yeah.
but they have not historically. They're a name that has not been associated with Nintendo consoles. Because for most of their existence, they were a PC developer, and I think they planned on getting. I know some of the really old Elder Scrolls games like Daggerfall, I think, on PS1, but they never did. And I think really their first big console foray was Morrowind on the Xbox, but they've never really been associated with Nintendo, so I think that's interesting to see them. Kind of like what happened with the Wii U at first, where you had all these big names coming to it that hadn't really been working on the Wii. Unfortunately, support for the Wii U dropped off a good bit, and hopefully that doesn't happen here. I really hope so. But some of these games aren't super surprising, and then some names. Some of these names aren't super surprising, like Sega. Well, Sega and Nintendo have been buddies for the past 10 years, which is really ironic, but yeah, no, I think Bethesda is the big one that sticks out.
All right. And what about you, Alex? Do you have one of these names that you say, oh, so that means my favorite game of all time is possible now on a Nintendo console for the first time?
Quick question. I didn't read the full list of all the names, but is Valve on there?
Valve is not on the list. I don't think they would be interested in something like that. And I also think they would be a hard partner because I don't think they're that focused on being a software company, right?
Well, then never mind then.
Well,
as for Capcom, I two possible games. I want to see a new Mega Man, a real Mega Man.
If only.
Mighty number 10.
No more Mighty number 10s, no more Mega Man 10s. I want Mega Man 11. Crank this up to 11, and I want Ace Attorney HD.
Very cool. So an Ace Attorney game for a console, but also still a handheld. That makes me think, a lot of these things are now possible. And I see Konami right there. It kind of surprises me that it is Konami and not, of course, Hideo Kojima's new company, Kojima Productions. So not necessarily going with Kojima, but actually going with the previous company, Konami, which also means it might be possible to see some Metal Gear stuff on this console. And of course, Nintendo has worked together with them on the awesome Super Smash Bros. Brawl content with Snake being in the game. So a lot of these things also call for crossovers with a certain maybe unannounced Super Smash Switch game. Do you guys have any thoughts what characters are now possible in the game? I'm not talking about Geno specifically, because we know Geno is possible. We've heard about that. But do you guys, did I spark your imagination with thinking about different characters for a certain Smash Switch?
I'm sorry, Alex. I just wanted to say this real quick about Valve before I forget it.
Go on.
Apparently Gabe Newell is actually a really big Nintendo fan. I think a lot of PC gamers are actually nowadays pretty big Nintendo fans, just because if you compare PC to Wii U versus PC to PS4, it's a lot less the same games, but without mods and worse graphics and performance and whatnot. Nintendo, it's just completely different. So I think a lot of PC fans like Nintendo, or at least don't hate them because they're not imitation PC. But as for Valve working on this system, I don't think they're really into console development anymore. And a lot of their big games now are pretty PC centric. I mean, they have always been, because they have mostly published first person shooters, but like now they're doing stuff with Dota and whatnot, and like free to play RTS. Like that's not those are words that are not super great to hear on console. That, and they're doing the Steam box now, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're just choosing not to put their games on consoles now that they're kind of competing.
That's right. So, yeah, Alex, do you have any thoughts on a potential Smash Brothers game then?
Yes, let's get back to the main topic, Logan. Sorry, you rambling robot.
By the way, can I just make a small detour, Logan?
Oh, please.
Yeah, talking about your name. Today was also the reveal of the Logan trailer.
Oh.
I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah,
have you seen that one?
My friend called me about that, but real quick, my dad was a really big X-Men fan, and that's actually where I got my name from.
No way, you were named after
I'm
Wolverine.
not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. He literally named me after Wolverine.
That is a blocked content exclusive. Logan, our guest, is actually named after Wolverine. Okay, let's move on to some Smash. Alex, if you look at the third-party list, what do you think is possible now in terms of, Smash or guest characters on any game?
Well, the main question is, though, when concerning Smash, will they simply do an updated port with all the DLC and maybe throw in a few new characters? Or will it be an all-new original Smash game? Because from some of the footage we saw in the trailer, it seems that it's hard to tell if some of the footage was just there to just have some footage shown for the trailer, or if they will be actual games, or even ports or sequels. That was a big question. And of course, they didn't show Smash Brothers, but we can't deny the possibility that Smash Brothers could come to Nintendo Switch.
It will definitely come, but I'm there's no question there has to be a Smash Brothers game per console. But you hit a very good point right there, because I think that some of the games shown are of course ports, and one of them was the Mario Kart sort of port. But yeah, it showed some different things. It showed Mario Kart. Well, let's get into games later, okay? Games that were shown. But thinking about Smash Brothers in that sense, I do think that it would have, if they were to release it for this console, it probably would be a port, or very heavily inspired by the framework of Smash Brothers for Wii U, because I think that Nintendo knows that it works very well, that both the console and both the hardcore and the casual gamer like it, and also because maybe not everyone has seen that DLC, and they can kind of build upon that, and they really want a Smash Brothers game sooner rather than later, so kind of porting it makes sense to me, at least. What do you guys think?
Stop breaking Sakurai's back. That's why they're gonna port it.
Yeah, I guess so. Sakurai's been doing some amazing work.
I think early on in the system they'll probably port it, and then years down the line they'll make an original game. Super Switch Brothers, probably not, but I'm looking at the companies that are signed on, and I'm like, who should be a guest? Who should be a guest? And I see Namco, I'm like, can we get a Tekken guest or a Soul Calibur guest? And it's probably not going to happen. But
that can definitely happen. There were some Tekken things in Smash Brothers for Wii U, actually.
Oh yeah, right, yeah,
in
the
terms of costumes. So I wouldn't sign that off completely. I don't think so.
Like I said, I have not looked at the list of all the companies, but I would like to hopefully see some indie characters making the Smash scene.
Really, indie characters? Why's that?
Specifically Shovel Knight. I recently got into Shovel Knight. It is very good, and also Shantae. They're very prominent indie characters that have a bit of a relationship with Nintendo, and I think that makes them likely candidates as future Smash competitors.
That's a very interesting take on that. Yeah, I don't really know. Indie characters to me kind of feel like they should probably stick to being like assist trophies or something like that. Not to be mean or anything, but I do think that you kind of need to build that gigantic history to be a Smash character. If you look at the characters that have been announced, and I'm not talking about Corrin or anything like that, because they are just there to promote new Nintendo games, but characters like Ryu from Street Fighter, who's obviously added because he is the the embodiment of fighting games, and of course Cloud, who is the embodiment of RPG games. So I was kind of looking towards those kind of characters. And if you look at games if you look at companies like Warner Brothers, might we see Batman in the game, or should it be only video game characters?
Batman's not gonna be in it. As much as I would love that, Batman is not gonna be in it.
Super Switch Brothers roster: Shrek, Batman, SpongeBob, Garfield.
You forgot
that
Goku.
Was actually a very good
and
announcer
Goku.
voice.
Oh,
well,
you have to
that is a
Superman
point.
Too.
I would love it if Goku were to be in the game, because of course Bandai Namco has famously worked on Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, and everyone thought, when's Goku coming? And Goku never came, so maybe it's still possible. But he's an anime character. He's not a video game character, but I think he's high on everyone's list because Goku is such. Goku could actually be, the embodiment of anime, right?
Well, here's the thing. The guarantee for him to get into Smash, he needs to have a sword. Because only anime swords people seem to be getting in. Just look at all the Fire Emblem characters.
Yeah, they have a lot of anime characters already, or at least anime-looking characters.
So I guess that means we get Future Trunks. I'm fine with that.
That'd be very cool.
I'm trying to think, what are anime characters with swords? And
Future Trunks.
I don't really watch anime, so all I can think of is like whatever Gundams had lightsabers.
So, talking about anime characters with swords, let's talk some games. Let's talk some Nintendo Switch games, because the very first game that we see when we look at that awesome first look at Nintendo Switch trailer is, of course, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, now confirmed to actually be playable on the go. I was wondering, Logan, what are your thoughts on seeing The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild? New gameplay, but also seeing it be able to go on the go.
Like, honestly, it looked like a very graphically intensive game on the Wii U, which really just makes me question super hard, like, how is this even going to work? Because when this morning I woke up, I was out walking the dog, and then Alex called me. He's like, hey, they're calling it the Switch now, and you can, like, take the controller off, and I'm like, I haven't watched it yet. Don't spoil it! But because they had already confirmed Breath of the Wild, so I'm like, how is that even possible?
To answer your question, Logan, it's using NVIDIA tech, which is well known for tablets, I believe.
I guess
that's how the system has enough power.
Is it like a frame rate and graphical drop or something that it does, maybe? I imagine, I have to imagine that there'd be some games that just wouldn't work with just the tablet, but then again, this is Nintendo. I don't know what... I mean, they made a game system that shows you 3D and you don't even need glasses, so at this point, I don't even know what.
Talking about a frame drop, seeing that trailer, that part of Breath of the Wild, I noticed, and I even said it in my live reaction, I noticed a gigantic frame drop. And I think even the very, very famous PewDiePie actually tweeted out that it looked like it was like 5 frames per second. There's a certain shot in the trailer. I'm trying to look at what the exact time code is. I think it's 40 seconds in the trailer. You actually see Link glide down and shoot an arrow on this new boss character, which is a giant moblin or a bokoblin. And the frame rate drops drastically, and I don't even know why they would do this in a trailer, because definitely the gameplay is superimposed on the image. It's not, filming it that live at all, because I don't think the console is in that state yet, and they never do that for promotional things. But why did they drop that frame rate so much? It looks so clunky and weird. It looks extremely slow.
Perhaps I might need to go watch it again to be sure. But perhaps it was just in slow mo just for the trailer. Was everything in live action around the shot also moving slow?
No, that was moving in 25 frames per second. So you see his thumbs actually playing what the character is doing, and he's moving in normal time.
Well, can I say that if assuming that does happen, hopefully that's just something that they're like predicting, they'll have to drop in. Hopefully it'll get improved, but still, if that is how it is, then I'll have to at least I'll have to give props to Nintendo for honesty, because I know there's been a lot of stuff going around in the past several years about what they call bull shots, which are basically like trailers and gameplay screenshots for games, and like they're touched up and computer generated and whatnot, so they look better than the actual game does. I know
Nintendo does that very well too.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of stuff with No Man's Sky about that, if you remember that whole controversy. But if Nintendo's saying, look, it's not going to be as good when you take it, portable, I guess I'd have to at least applaud them for their honesty.
Yeah, I feel the same about that. I think that if we are predicting this massive game, which already has frame drops on the Wii U. I've played Breath of the Wild extensively on the Wii U at Nintendo press events, and yeah, I was very lucky to actually play the game for I think 6 hours in total.
Wow, I hate you.
I sometimes hate myself too. Anyway, when I played the game, and a lot of these things had to do with explosions and stuff like that. Never really with, looking at the world or seeing, how grand the scale is, but just with things like clouds or with wind or with explosions, the frame rate would drop, just massively out of nowhere. And this was the Wii U we're talking about. That's supposed to be able to handle it. Thinking about that on a handheld, I don't think anyone would want to play the game if it had, that big of a frame drop that we see in that trailer. So really hope Nintendo fixes that. I would rather actually have the graphical power kind of drop and, the lighting or the polygon count or whatever, and not the frame rate, right? How do you guys feel about that?
I just want to say Nintendo is very well known for valuing software over hardware. Their systems have always been kind of watered down when next to big competitors like PlayStation and Xbox. They're not there for the super graphics and whatnot. I mean, it still looks pretty and everything, but they want to focus on great games using less powerful hardware. They've done it for years.
Yeah, that's I mean, there have been a few times where Nintendo systems have been more powerful than competitors. Like if you look at, Resident Evil 4 on the game or on the GameCube versus the PS2, like notice they took out water effects and stuff. But that's always been a focus of Nintendo, to try to make the most out of lesser hardware. If you even if you look at the Game Boy competing with the Game Gear and the Atari Lynx, which were more powerful systems with color, but Nintendo won because they made the most out of it. They didn't really get too big for their britches, I guess you could say, and but yeah, I would prefer bad graphics and bad frame rate. I will always take bad graphics, because it's one thing for a game to look subpar, but if it runs choppy, that's always going to have a bad effect on gameplay. Yeah, Lego Dimensions Wii U. Oh God.
What happened with that game?
It's
Wii
not
U,
a good port.
The Wii U is perhaps the slowest and most buggy, but since we're hardcore Nintendo fans, we get the Wii U starter pack. I
probably would have gotten the PS4 one, but I didn't have a PS4. I've been planning to buy one for a year now.
All right, so let's move on to the next game that was shown, which is a game by, I think this is sort of a Skyrim kind of game, right? Is this Skyrim, or is this Skyrim remastered, or what is happening with this game?
It might have just been mock-up footage for the purpose of the trailer. I am not a Skyrim dude. Hardcore Nintendo all the way, except for that PS3 Logan gave me.
So he could play Sonic Generations and Deadpool.
Nice. What a sweet dude.
Yeah.
No, but I think that they've actually come out and said that they are not revealing any games right now. They're very happy that they work together with Nintendo on the trailer, but it feels like it's non-specific game, right? Non-specific Skyrim sort of game.
But Bethesda was on the developer list, which makes me think that they're going to port it, and Skyrim is how old now? I'm kind of surprised they haven't gone ahead and started working on the 6th one, but I'm not a big Elder Scrolls fan, not really big on RPGs in general. Even though I have played Fallout New Vegas and I have enjoyed that, we just by the same people. But I don't know. But I don't really care for it. But if Skyrim is on there, then I'm happy to see a variety of games on the system, even if I personally am not very into that style of game, I guess.
I feel the same, and I think it opens doors for third parties because this is, the most third party-ish game you could think about, right?
Well, I've heard people before saying like certain games that they just hate or whatever. They're like, oh, keep this game off my preferred system. It's like, why would you even ever think that? Like, it doesn't matter if you like it or not. It's always good to have, as many games as you can get. I'm not saying quantity versus quality, but like, it's, good to have games on a system, more than 5, as the Wii U has learned the harsh way.
That's right, yeah.
As much as I hate to say it, because I do love Nintendo, but...
Yeah, we all do, of course, definitely. And the next game that was shown in the trailer was actually that very cute part that the guys were playing Mario Kart on the road, and they actually plugged it in their little van, and they played together, which looked very cool. And then I noticed, you can even see it in my live reaction, then I noticed that, wait, this is not just Mario Kart 8, there are things different with this game. So we've already talked about things like, ports and whatever, but this looks like some sort of revamped version, right? Just to name a few things, okay? I have a very small theory. King Boo is coming back. You can hold 2 items now. The trailer took place in Yoshi's Circuit, and all of these things were first introduced in Double Dash, right? For the GameCube. So maybe the pack, or maybe the exclusiveness of this version of the game is sort of a dedicated homage to Double Dash, and maybe it could bring characters back like in the pack, like Diddy Kong, which is not in the game, Bowser Jr., Petey Piranha, Paratroopa, and Birdo, right? What about that?
Perhaps.
I'm waiting for the best Mario Kart character, which we all know is Metal Fire Baby Waluigi Ling Jr.
Ling Jr., very nice. Yeah, I think in terms of stages, we see, of course, Yoshi's Circuit, and the ones that we were still missing from that game, which was an awesome game, are like the GameCube version of Rainbow Road, which I loved, Wario Coliseum, stuff like that. So it feels like it's getting so much different things from Double Dash, but not the actual switching of the characters in the same cart.
I was about to say, with the name like Nintendo Switch, you would think that perhaps they may bring that back for a Mario Kart title. They may not have implemented it in the footage we've seen yet, or maybe it's an alternate mode, but they could bring back Switch, because Nintendo Switch, they might take that concept and put it in their games. An interesting idea, Colin, if you'll bear with me, is something for a new Smash Brothers. The ability to switch your fighters in the middle of the fight.
Yeah, a lot of people really want that game mode where you can, if you are KO'd, you'll switch to a different character for your next stock.
They have that in Project M, I think. I think it's called All-Star Battle or something, and I'm actually pretty surprised that that's not already a thing. So maybe Nintendo will start taking ideas from Project M because they know who did the better job with Smash. Okay, well, now that I've invited a flame war into the comments, I just have to say, like, that's a feature that's in so many fighting games. Like, I'm kind of surprised that they haven't had like a tag out mode, or even just like a using other characters as lives mode, aside from Smash 2, which no one plays.
Yeah, I also love that mode, and I was actually an avid player of Project M myself, but that was last year, and I've kind of stopped. I see there are a lot of great mods going, but I'm kind of moving away from mods to just focus on what Nintendo is bringing to the table themselves, because that's of course what it's all about in the end. But I do think that you're right in that respect. I think that talking about the name Switch could mean a lot for these games. If you think about Smash Brothers, it could be switching characters, also of course switching play, so you could have your 3DS Smash and you could have your Wii U Smash. And for Mario Kart, yeah, it could be switching items, but it could maybe be a different, it could be double dash mode or something, and you could switch characters, because this would fit very well with the 2 controllers that we see the kids in the van play with, right? That would fit to me. And I also think maybe we should move on to a very, very awesome next game, which is the thing that I am most excited about. I think we're gonna skip the NBA game for now, because we are not we're not that big of a basketball
sports
players.
that much.
The heck
We're
with
not
NBA.
moving.
I don't understand sports ball.
Can I guess the game, Colin? Can I guess it?
Sure. Yeah.
Super Mario Universe! Woohoo!
So I am actually going to call it. Are you ready? This is gonna be really cool. Okay. Cinco de Mario! Woohoo!
I hope they do.
So it's called Cinco de Mario in my brain, at least. We did a sort of a short analysis on the very brief gameplay that was shown, but man, does this game look surprising and awesome and colorful and beautiful and very, very, very bright and nice, and it makes me think back of Super Mario 64, also with a little bit of Super Mario Sunshine with the hub world and the different place Mario is in, also Galaxy with the planets and the whole star field in the background, and also Super Mario 3D World, which I enjoyed immensely. So Logan, what is your take on Cinco de Mario?
Well, I really hope it's called that. I feel like Nintendo should make all the names of their games puns. Actually, when Amiibos first came out, I think I told this to Alex, but I really hoped that they would help sell a 2-pack of Mario and Luigi and call it the Amiibro pack, but they didn't. Nintendo
My
missed
Mario
a golden...
amiibo is actually called Amiibro.
they missed a golden Mario opportunity there to make more Amiibo puns. But anyways, as I said, I haven't been paying attention to the actual games that much. I was more focused on the hardware itself, and I didn't even realize that was a different Mario game, because I haven't played a Mario game. Well, I've played a little bit of Mario Maker. I need to play more. It's just that when I got it, I was in an English class with a ton of homework, so I didn't have too much time. And I need to try to get back into it now, but like I haven't played a Mario game that much since I think 3D Land was the one on 3DS. So I'm ashamed to admit, but I haven't been keeping up with Mario. But
I think that this looks to be a very good opportunity to get back into it, because it fuses all of these things that you missed, and I think that's a very good choice. I get some Isle Delfino vibes from this. What about you, Alex?
First off, I just wanted to mention my amiibos are named Maribo, Luibo, Megamiibo, Sonibo, and Pac-Miibo. Anyway, back to the discussion.
Let's switch it up, right?
I am a huge Mario maniac, if you did not know. You may think I like Sonic more, but nope, Mario's my homeboy.
You are literally wearing a Luigi hat right now, so I would think that Luigi is more your bro.
Well, yeah, so I was talking more of the Mario franchise.
The franchise, of course.
Yeah. Luigi is love, Luigi is life. Hail Luigi, it is the eternity of Luigi.
So what did you think of the trailer, or the very short preview that we see of Cinco de Mario?
Well, as you put it, Cinco de Mario! It looks very interesting. You're right. It does look like a mishmash of previous Mario titles. I seem to get a little bit of a Super Mario Sunshine vibe, a little bit of 3D World, and a little mix of Galaxy. It looks like a little bit of all of Mario's past 3D platformings, but with maybe something new. Because as I think you may have pointed out in your video, that they had some very interesting looking original cactus dancing people in down in Marico. You don't see too much. Mostly just Mario doing some hops. He does a long jump, a triple jump, and you see a
Triple
lot.
jump
lot
is
of,
back finally.
Yep. I'm very happy to see the triple jump. Woo! Yeah. Woohoo!
So, what do you think of the little gameplay you've seen so far? Because to me, it does feel like a sequel to Mario 3D World, and some people have rumored it to be Super Mario 3D World Tour with World Tour, with different countries being represented. What do you think of that?
Well, Mario's been having quite a worldly presence lately. What with his with his trip from Japan straight to the Rio Olympic Games, so that's not completely out of the question. I would be happy to see that. I very much enjoyed 3D World, and I like the 3D series a little bit more than Galaxy. Galaxy had great level design and great mechanics, but I did miss most of the power-ups working like how they do in 3D World.
Yeah.
I was very excited when they incorporated that into 3D Land and 3D World, and I hope they didn't really show it off here in the footage scene, but I do hope it makes a return. But I'm happy to see original locales, Mario going somewhere beyond the Mushroom Kingdom, and a Mushroom Kingdom look-alike.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that this game looks very original in its own right. I don't know if this is the main location of the game, like if this would be its Isle Delfino, or if this is just a world. If this is just one of the many, many worlds. It kind of feels like that because it doesn't feel that crazily big, the overworld portion of the game, the hub world. And I do see some Super Mario 64 references going about. As far as the spinning heart in the background goes, we haven't seen that since Super Mario 64. So I'm very curious what you think of that, Alex.
Honestly, maybe a tad disappointed, considering, like I said, I really enjoy the 3D games mechanics taking on the 2D, where instead of having a health bar that has been the norm from 64 to Galaxy, I don't really like seeing that brought back. I prefer the Mushroom, Small Mario, and Super Mario.
Oh, really? You do?
Yes, I'm okay with 64 references because that is in its own right a very good game, and as for Sunshine, being a component of the location, we have seen Piantas in other locations besides Isle Delfino, if you remember that one level in Mario Galaxy.
That's true. And to kind of hook into what you were saying about Super Mario 3D World, I think there's a very small chance that if Mario gets hit in this game, then he'll become small. As I look at it right now, the heart could maybe mean that there is a life meter, a power meter. There's no real reason to have a heart there other than maybe it has a different function in the game. But I think the power meter then is back.
I am sadly a little disappointed, but I can look past that since the game looks amazing from what we've seen, and I hope that it will be announced very soon officially, and we'll be able to learn more about it in the months to come.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about, because having it be announced is good. Having sort of a short view of that very cool NES console is good. But now we want that Nintendo Direct that talks about the game, shows more footage, goes more in depth with it, right?
Oh, definitely. This was just a teaser trailer, but they probably had this set up where they have an extended period of no information about this NX. And then they released this teaser trailer, which at the same time tells us a lot and tells us almost nothing about the system.
Yep, and just our final point has to be Splatoon, or Splatoon. There's a little bit of new footage from this game, and I'm very curious what you think of this, Alex, because there are new hairstyles in the game, there are new costumes, there are new pants. As one of the commenters said, I'm very excited about the pants in Splatoon. What do you think of, Splatoon coming back to this console and being very esports focused, having new content? Is this a new game, or might this be just an add-on or a port?
It's tough to say at this point, considering they were mainly focusing on the hardware, and like I said, software was not a big focus. But for there to be a Splatoon, which works better when read than out loud, but I'm open to it. I've kind of gotten away from Splatoon on the Wii U. I mean, when you put it down and you don't pick it back up for a while, it's kind of hard to hop back in. But with NX, you'll be able to take it with you on the go, giving you more time to train and work up on it.
Yeah, I do like what Splatoon was all about back in the day, because it was this game created by the young Nintendo developers, and I loved seeing the support for it, but Nintendo's wishes, seeing that gigantic stadium, I think they might be a little bit too much. I don't think that this will ever happen in real life. This might happen for a Smash Brothers tournament with all the greats that we know, the Hungry Boxes of the world and the Mewtwo Kings, but not for something like Splatoon. I don't think that it will gather this gigantic of an audience, or that Nintendo would make that leap, but I like the idea that Nintendo is thinking about, the bigger picture. Gaming on the road, gaming at home, gaming with friends, multiplayer gaming, but also big esports-like scenarios, and I think it was a very good choice for Nintendo to end on that note, to just show how much they are, banking on the hardcore gamer for this console. So I'm very happy that Nintendo chose to do that. Concluding this, I would like both of your, final thoughts on this, just specifically this 3.5 minute trailer. I'm very curious what you think of this trailer.
I haven't even played Splatoon yet. I've been meaning to get it. It's just been like it just keeps eluding me. Like I could get it if I had the money. It's just kind of like not on my mind when I'm buying games. So, but I think like this is also part of that. And they were also trying to set up. I don't know how well it's going now, but they were trying to set up esports stuff for Pokken Tournament. Because they had that at Evo and all that. So I think that's an audience that Nintendo's trying to, I guess, get with. But also, something I just kind of thought about, it kind of seemed a little bit like the trailer was sort of building up. And basically what I mean is, you start with just a guy playing video games, just in his living room. And then it's a guy going out and playing video games, somewhere else. And then you get, him meeting someone to play video games with. You get, two friends playing video games with each other. And then you get, the whole room of people, or like the basketball players or whatever playing the NBA game. Like you get a bunch of people, and then you get all the way to, I guess, like the highest level of gaming. You get all the way to esports. So it's kind of like this escalation, which I think it was maybe one thing they were trying to point out is like just, I guess, the versatility of this console and all the places that you'd end up playing it. But as for the trailer, I thought it was really good, just in terms of creating interest and intrigue around the console. It's certainly gotten my curiosity. Well, but it's a really good trailer in terms of creating curiosity and getting people talking about it.
And Alex, what are your thoughts on this console, on specifically the whole trailer?
Specifically on the trailer, like you said, this seems to be marketing a whole lot of demographics, and I am very, very curious to see how this can go. Like Logan said, it shows that different kinds of people playing the console, and it seems to me like this is the console that should have been codenamed the Revolution. Casual gamers, hardcore gamers, people who like to play games in groups, casual gamers. It can get all those, and I think they really came through with this trailer, showing us what we wanted to know, and keeping enough hidden away so that they can show more when they're ready at their own leisure.
Alright, well, that about wraps it up for Blocked Content's Nintendo Switch discussion with the guys from Console Warriors. I would like to thank both Alex and Logan. Thank you guys.
You're welcome, Cal. I'm always happy to be here on Block Content and be your block buddy.
It's nice to be here this time.
Very cool. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion. If you want to see more from Blocked Content, and we will be analyzing the very cool Nintendo NS, the Nintendo Switch, for the coming days and maybe months. I think a lot of new content is coming out soon from Nintendo's end because they just have to. They have to sort of throw in some more gameplay footage and more information, and they will do that. They just want to kind of see how this snowballs and how the trailer's reaching different people. Anyway, if you want to see more, please hit that subscribe button. Keep up to date with everything Blocked Content is doing. Remember, we have the special Super Mario Maker Challenge, and you can win these awesome magnets for your fridge. All you have to do is place a comment down below, and you'll be able to win it. If your comment is very unique and awesome, you'll have a chance to win it. Anyway, thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys next time, and remember, Block Buddies, there's always more Nintendo Switch news around the corner.